Story 1. Want me to use old pallets? Alright then.
So a few years back I worked for a brick/block making firm. I was using the cuber, a machine that would push the bricks and blocks onto a wooden pallet. I was tasked with stacking newly made bricks on pallets and stacking said pallets in the shed to keep them out of the weather. I was using the new pallets like we normally do for the bricks as they would be stacked 4 pallets high. About 8 meters tall or about 26 feet, my boss yelled at me saying just use the old pallets. I replied with the old pallets are not strong enough for that weight. Well, he was always right and demanded to do as he said. Skip to a few hours later and I hear my boss yelling and swearing up a storm. One of the old pallets at the bottom collapsed, destroying about 4K worth of product. He starts yelling at me, putting the blame on me. Now this was a long time coming and I was done being blamed for his screw-ups. I stood over him and started yelling back, you told me to use the old pallets. I did as you said, so don't you dare blame me for your screw-up. I then turned around and left. Now he didn't like to admit he was wrong, but when I got to my station the next Monday there was a new toolkit sitting there for me.
Comment 1. Thanks for the new tools, boss. You gonna apologize for yelling at me now? Might be pushing it a bit, but oh man, it would be funny.
Comment 2. So few sincere apologies come back after people are shown to be wrong. Magic. It's like a real bunny came out of a hat. Doves flew out of the new tool set.
Comment 3. A verbal apology would have been nice, but the toolkit was an apology and acknowledgement, and more than most people get when their bosses screw up, so I'm happy with that, smiley face.
Comment 4. Now in my head you see the toolkit on Monday. Walk over to your boss and say, thanks for the tools. And he replies stoically, no problem. Then you say, hey, it's okay to make a mistake. Then he breaks down crying and you both embrace. Comment 5. This one turned out well, but always get things in writing when you know you're right and they are wrong. If it was the days before email, have them sign a piece of paper. Comment 6. I used to do shipping in a warehouse. All the UPS and FedEx. I was super picky about the UPS pallets. They could both be loaded up with 1,000 plus pounds of material by the time they came to pick up, sometimes over a ton on one and rarely both. If the pallets didn't come back the next day, I had 4 in rotation, 2 go out as yesterday's 2 come back. I'd head over to the inbound side of the warehouse and hunt down a couple good big pallets. Reason being, shitty pallets would break when you pick them up to put them on the wrapper/scale. Sometimes they'd get fucked up in transit, in loading or unloading, or they'd have to switch trailers and the old ones were left in a different one. There was 1 week my pallets weren't coming back at all. Asked the UPS guy to remind his unloaders that we needed them back every day.
Story 2. Change the business name? Okay.
Sometimes just the threat of malicious compliance is all you need. Years ago, a gentleman owned a chain of auto parts stores. He always named each store, name of town, auto parts and put the initials on the building. One of the stores was in a town that started with a W, inadvertently placing an, at the time, racial slur on the building. I'll let you go down the rabbit hole. After being up there for many years, the city fathers, think City Hall today, came down and told him he needed to take that down because it's offensive. The owner said it's the initials of the business, how is it offensive? The city says we don't care, take it down or else. At that point, the owner looks them dead in the eye and says okay. I'll change the business name to Frank's United Chicken Kitchen and put those initials up there. It took the fathers all of a minute to say never mind, keep it like it is. They left and never had any other issues with them about the sign.
Comment 1. Reminds me that the Urban Dictionary entry defining those initials as wireless access point has been around a lot longer than the other one.
Comment 2. I've never heard this as a racial slur. Google was no help. What race and what does it mean?
Comment 3. I know the initials of the company share that of a controversial song in some circles, but I can't think of a slur. I guess that's a good thing for me that my mind doesn't go there immediately. Comment 4. At work our managers are called holders of records. We were told to stop calling them whores.
Comment 5. I actually had to look up WAP to see what it means. which apparently means an excited female. Still can't see how that's racist, but I'm old, so I just don't get most of today's slang. Comment 6, not really believable. Why wouldn't they just tell him to also take down the second name and initials?